When we added the points for our air handler, I told you that we wouldn't take the time then and change all the facets as we brought them in because there was a quicker way of doing it. This lab is going to show you how to use the batch editor to simplify some of the processes in N4. In order to get to the batch editor, I need to scroll up and find the program service in my services folder. And when I double click the program service, I go to the batch editor view. So just a word of caution about the batch editor. If you're doing this in the real world, make sure that you make a copy of the station that you're working on before you start using the batch editor. So if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You can just put the original station back in and everything will be back to where it was before you touched it. That being said, the batch editor is a fantastic time-saving tool. We will be using the batch editor to change the facets on the backnet points that we brought in, but you can simplify a lot of things with the batch editor. In order to use the batch editor, I'm going to start with the Find Objects button, and that will bring up my BQuery Query Builder. The BQuery Query Builder is just a search tool. Query is another word for search. It allows us to search for objects that we want to edit. I'm going to do this the wrong way and just hit OK. I found 539 objects. If I ran a batch edit right now and did something, it would edit all 539 of these objects. This is not what I want to do. I only want to find the Boolean objects in my BACnet Air Handler folder. I'm going to come down here and hit the Clear All button to get rid of that search. I'll hit the Find Objects button again, and I'm going to narrow down the scope of my search by hitting this magnifying glass and tell it to look only in my BACnet network, BACnet controller, points folder, Air Handler 14. Hit OK. Then I need to specify the extent of my search. Right now, the extent of my search is looking for components. Everything in the station is a component. That's why I found 539 objects earlier. So if I hit the drop down here and tell it to only look for Boolean points in my Air Handler folder, when I press OK, it'll come back with all of the Boolean points in that folder. I would like all of these facets to be on and off. The problem is the occupancy in point was added to my list. The occupancy in facets are occupied, unoccupied. So what I need to do is clear it from the list. I'll just select it and hit the X up here, and that'll take it out of my batch editor. Once I have all the points in my batch editor that I want to make changes to, I'll click on the Edit Slot button, and then I'll select the Facets property, and these facets are common to all four of these objects. Instead of true and false, I'm going to click the double chevron and type on for true and off for false. As soon as I hit OK, it's going to go out and change all those facets. It's not going to say, are you sure you want to do this? There's not another button that I hit here to confirm my changes. OK confirms the change that I want to make. I'll go ahead and press OK, and you can see in the batch editor results window that it changed all the facets to on and off. Now I'd like to use the batch editor to change the facets on my numeric points in my BACnet lab. I'm going to clear all of these Boolean points by hitting the Clear All button at the bottom of the page, and then I'm going to go find objects that are in AHU 14, but they are numeric points. When I hit OK, I get a list of numeric points that are available. I just need to look in this list and make sure that all of the points on this list are going to have the same facets. Space temp is going to have degrees Fahrenheit, but damper would have percent. So I'm going to clear it from my list by hitting the X button up here. And all of the rest of these should be okay using degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll click the Edit Slot button at the bottom of the page, choose the Facets property, and then I can use the Recently Used Facets drop-down menu because I already have one in here that matches what I want to use. I'll left-click this Recently Used Facet. Tells me units degrees F, precision is 1, so that gives me 1 decimal place, and minimum and max are fine. So I'll hit OK, and it tells me that all my facets are set. I'm going to clear my list, and then I'll just go find that damper and do that one real quick. So I'll find objects, numeric points are fine, and I will get rid of all of the points that I don't need and just run the batch editor on this one point. So I'll click Edit Slot, change the facet to %. I don't have % in my recently used facets, so I'll click the double chevron, the 3 dots, and % lives in the miscellaneous category, and I'll just choose % from the drop-down list, hit OK, OK, and when I hit OK here, it will go change the facets on my damper. I'd like to go verify that this actually happened. So in my tree, I'll double click my air handler folder, which is where I have my graphic, and you can see that all my facets are now displaying correctly on all the points on my air handler page.